إن شاء الله هنبدأ سلسلة جديدة هنشرح فيها سوفت وير OpenLab CD الخاص بجهاز أجيلنت،
So
وهنفرق
here we are in the
بينه
control
وبين
panel.
سوفت
If you're
وير
using an earlier version, you
كيمستيشن.
might see the royal purple skin.
السلسلة هتكون عبارة
Let's
عن
create a
3
new
أجزاء،
instrument.
كل جزء
And as you
هنشرح
configure
فيه
the settings for
حاجات
the
معينة
instrument and you
تخص
select the
السوفت
instrument
وير
type, you'll
وكيفية
notice that the
التعامل
list of
معه.
instruments is different in the two software packages. In CDS 2.4, the list has been reduced to simplify the selection. Once you've created the instrument, you'll notice a small difference in the interface. OpenLab CDS requires you to select a project to launch the instrument. Before we can do that, we need to configure the instrument. Configuration is similar in the two systems, but fewer options in OpenLab CDS make the process simpler. Once your instrument is configured in OpenLab CDS, we'll select a project to enable the ability to launch the instrument. Because data analysis is handled in a separate application, you'll see that launch offline is not available in OpenLab CDS. So let's launch these instruments in both of these systems. And you'll see that it takes a little bit more time for ChemStation to load up than it does for our OpenLab CDS acquisition screen. So let's go back to the control panel, and to launch an offline data analysis session in CDS, instead of clicking Launch Offline, you're going to select a project and click Start Data Analysis. For more topics comparing ChemStation to OpenLab CDS, see our OpenLab CDS software tutorial series on YouTube. Hi, Josh here from the Software and Informatics team at Agilent. In this video, we'll take a quick look at editing acquisition methods. So I have an LC open here in ChemStation. We're going to go to the menu and click Method and Edit Entire Method. I'll uncheck the sections related to data analysis because we really only care about the acquisition method. And then I'll enter a description and select the injection source. And after all those menus and clicks, we can edit our acquisition parameters. So let's switch over to OpenLab CDS. In OpenLab CDS, we're going to click the method layout in the ribbon bar, and here we are. All of the sections of your acquisition method are listed in the navigation pane on the left, and I'll click the Properties section, where you can enable Audit Trail and enter your descriptions. Then you can click through the list of devices in your configurations and modify the parameters as you see fit. Then you can save that method very quickly from the toolbar and also download it to the instrument. In OpenLab CDS, your injection source is selected when you run the method. For more topics comparing ChemStation to OpenLab CDS, see our OpenLab CDS software tutorial series on YouTube. Hi, Josh here from the Software and Informatics team at Agilent. In this video, we'll take a quick look at creating sequences in OpenLab CDS. In ChemStation, your sequence table is found in this little box in the interface. To create a sequence manually, start by defining methods, sample vials, and other run information for a single line, and then add, append, and edit lines in the sequence. The sequence wizard can speed up this process, but is a little bit complicated. In OpenLab CDS, you'll go to the sequence layout to find your table. Manually creating a sequence here is very similar to what you're used to. Start by entering info for the first line, then add, append, and edit lines. Use tokens to define unique values for sample names and data files to prevent invalid entries. Right-click a column to use fill down to copy and increment values into empty lines, or control-click multiple columns to fill down all at once. Custom parameter and amount values for selected lines are easily accessible in the bottom panel along with your tray view. I might be biased, but creating a sequence feels more fluid in OpenLab CDS. Where it really shines is with the use of sequence creation templates. A sequence template allows you to design a pattern for your sequences using starting, repeatable center, and ending sections. You can select methods and other constants to apply across the entire sequence, and select unique methods for specific lines as needed. In this example, we start with a blank, 2 calibration samples, and a system suitability sample, then run a QC check after every 5 samples, and then end the sequence with a blank and summary report printings. You can apply a template to a custom sample list by clicking Apply Template and selecting a template. Or you can create a new sequence and enter a number of samples to apply a template to, and have a complex sequence ready to run in a matter of seconds. For more topics comparing ChemStation to OpenLab CDS, see our OpenLab CDS software tutorial series on YouTube. Hi, Josh here with the Software and Informatics team at Agilent. In this video, we'll take a brief look at submitting and managing runs in OpenLab CDS. In ChemStation, you select sequence or single injection modes using the toolbar buttons here. For a single injection, click the little box in the interface to define your run information and click Run Method to submit. Switch to sequence mode and click the box to view your sequence and submit it from here or the toolbar. Submitted items are in the Run queue, and you can click to view the queue history. In OpenLab CDS, go to the single sample layout to submit a method for injection. You'll find that the interface provides immediate access to needed settings rather than hiding them in little boxes. Enter a sample name, choose your acquisition and processing methods, and enter a unique result name for the run. Use tokens here for fast submission of multiple runs. Select an injection source and sample vial, and then define processing values and custom parameters as needed. Click Run, and the run's submitted to the queue. Unlike in ChemStation, you can modify acquisition methods while the instrument is running, without affecting current instrument parameters. Browse to the sequence layout to submit sequences in OpenLab CDS. Define a path and a name for the result to be generated, and submit it by clicking the Run button in the Sequence window or in the Sequence toolbar. The sequence is added to the queue, and other sequences can be loaded for additional submission. Now that you have runs in the queue, you can use the Run Queue toolbar to abort current runs, delete pending runs, pause and resume the queue, or reorder the run queue by clicking and dragging your runs into the desired order and clicking Update. Submit a shutdown method to conserve resources by shutting down instrument systems once the queue is completed. To edit a pending or in-progress sequence, select it in the Run queue and click the button in the toolbar to view the sequence. Click Edit and modify your sequence as desired, and click Update to apply the sequence changes. Your queue history is always shown in the Run queue for quick access. Click any completed run and click in the toolbar to easily open data analysis and view your results. For more topics comparing ChemStation to OpenLab CDS, see our OpenLab CDS software tutorial series on YouTube. Now you can create optimized integration parameters for your chromatograms to get the best results the first time with the Integration Optimizer in OpenLab CDS 2.6. In this video, I'll show you how to use it to quickly develop processing method settings based on your own data. The first step is to open data analysis and load data that contains chromatograms that you want to integrate. For the best result, this should be a dataset that contains your compounds of interest in both sample injections and standard injections across your calibration range. In this example, I'll use a hydrocarbon mix. Once your data is loaded, click in the ribbon to select the Integration Optimizer layout. This will adjust the display to show the Integration Optimizer wizard and your currently selected chromatogram. If your data contains multiple signal channels, you'll be developing parameters for the currently selected signal. Start by choosing your preferred integrator, ChemStation or EasyChrome. Now we'll adjust the integration range by dragging the edges of the dotted red box in the chromatogram window. Select a range that excludes solvent peaks, as well as noise beyond the last peak of interest. Next, adjust the green smallest peak range box in the chromatogram window. Zoom in if needed, and frame in your smallest peak of interest by dragging the edges of the box into place. Click Next to proceed to the next step in the wizard. Now, in the Integration and Tuning section of the wizard, we'll fine-tune some key parameters. The wizard sets slider values in a range that's appropriate for your current data set to make it easy. And to speed things along, baselines and other annotations in the chromatogram are updated in real time as you drag the sliders to adjust the values. I like to start with data from a standard injection to do the initial tuning pass. First, adjust the peak width until you're satisfied with the baselines. Then, adjust slope sensitivity to check that peak separations meet your needs. Then, adjust the height reject slider to eliminate small peaks that you want to exclude. Now let's zoom into one of our poorly separated peaks and select a new peak separation mode. You can select from Valley Dropline, Baseline at Valley, Exponential Skim, and Linear Skim. I'll use an exponential skim, and then adjust the skim ratio slider until the skimming applies to my peaks as intended. Now that we have the initial parameters for processing a standard injection, I'll select data from a sample injection to see how well these apply. I'll make some updates to the slider values to make sure I'm happy with the sample processing. You can add annotations from the chromatogram window toolbar to help with visualizing your result. You can show and hide tick marks for your baseline boundaries right here, or add peak result information here. Click Next to proceed to the final step in the wizard. The table of integration events that you created with the wizard settings is shown in the Finalize Parameters section of the wizard. Review the settings and click Update Method to apply these parameters to your currently open processing method. This will also save the method. Now, link it to any dataset and reprocess the data using the updated method to generate new results. I hope you enjoyed this brief tutorial on using the Integration Optimizer. For more videos, visit us at Agilent.com. Now there's an easier way to verify the health of your OpenLab system after software updates. In this video, I'll show you how to use Quala for OpenLab CDS. Quala is an automated qualification tool for OpenLab CDS that confirms that your software is operating as intended by running a series of software qualification and verification tasks. You can get to Quala using a standard internet browser. I'll use Microsoft Edge for this example. Browse to the URL provided by your system administrator to connect to any OpenLab CDS system on your network and enter the same user credentials you used for logging into OpenLab CDS to log into Quala. Once you've logged in, you'll see the home page, which shows the computer name of the system you're connected to, the system status, and the last overall test result. Below this is a list of available tests in Quala with their most recent execution date and last result shown to the right. Quala will display tests that apply to the current system configuration and may hide some tests as seen here. Click here to show any hidden tests. You can quickly see information from the previous result by clicking the last result for a test to open the related report. Information icons like this indicate that additional information is available in the report. In this example, you see that the report highlights newly installed drivers, including one for Agilent LC instrument control. This helps alert you to changes in installed software that may impact system operation. Each test performs a unique set of program tasks which test various aspects of the system environment related to healthy operation of your OpenLab CDS system. All selected tests must pass to establish a passing result overall. Select any combination of the available tests in the list and click Start to execute them now. The navigation pane on the left will help you navigate in Quala, and while tests are running, you'll see the execution details icon spinning. When you click here, you'll see a running duration for the overall test and detailed information about the tests being run in real time. Click any test in the list to view details about the steps executed inside of it. When all the tests have completed, an overall test result is reported and can be viewed on the home page or in the execution history page found here. By default, the execution history page shows you results from all tests that were run within the past month. You can filter these results using the fields provided above the list here. Double-click any test to open a list of reports that were generated by that test. Click the link at the top to download all the reports in this test as a zip file, or click to open any report. These reports can be used as one part of your overall validation documentation. Click the X in the upper right corner to close the test reports and select other results in your history. At the bottom of the navigation pane, you can find documentation on Quala and a button to log out of Quala.